Hi, welcome to Give Your Wall Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom. Well, we're breaking it wide open for this episode. We're doing things a lot differently. There's no last time painting to talk about. I'm going to go straight into this painting. The palette is completely different. We're using 3 pigments plus white, and the setup is totally different. Rather than have a still life with one light source and a traditional lighting scenario, I took colored lights and shined complementary colors on the setup to really just bring out the color in the still life. So this copper pot is just going to sing with color that if it's one of those deals where if you don't see a lot of color in what you're looking at, then go ahead and surround it with objects that will reflect, and then the painting's going to sing because it's picking up objects from all these different areas. So here I've surrounded it with a paper bag, and you can see 2 different colored lights and all kinds of good stuff to really make it pop. So the other thing that's totally different is my palette. I have pre-mixed colors on my palette, and I did 3 pretty much basic values: dark, medium, and light. They're not totally consistent all the way through, but you really can't miss when you have a dark range, a medium range, and a light range. So I took each of the 3 pigments, phthalo turquoise, quinacridone rose, and Indian yellow, and made a good variety of colors. This took me an hour to mix that, and I didn't want to do that. Well, you'd be really bored watching this show if I did it on the show. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and just put tons of color on this copper pot and really make it sing. I had no room for my painting medium, so I stuck it in a styrofoam cup. I do have to get my trusty paper towel out just to have it ready. Okay, with all this color on my palette, you'd think I'd know where to start on the canvas and where to start on the palette. But I look at the palette, and I've done all this pre-mixing, and I'm used to a lot of space, and I totally get overload. So, I'm tempted to just close my eyes, see where it lands, and then just, throw a color down. The crew knows what I'll do, though. They said that I would find the red. And you know what? That sounds good to me. So where do we have some red? We have all kinds of red, too. So let's find a cool red on this side. And just throw in a spot of color over here. This is going to be a very loose painting. And these are just really abstract shapes, and they're reflecting off the objects that I had around. Now, if you look at the reference photo, I'm not painting the entire photo. All I cared about, I showed you all of the objects in the photo so you could see how I arrived at all the color in the pot. But all I'm going to paint is the pot itself. That's all I cared about. Okay, this is a little warmer red over here. So I'll pick up some warm red, stick that over here. Ooh. That's happy. Where else can I find some red? I think I like using this. It's nice to have all these colors pre-mixed. I wonder, we'll see how much faster it may or may not go, depending on how this works. How did I know what to pre-mix? I took the dark, each pigment, and mixed 3 values: a dark, medium, light of the yellow, and of the red, and of the green. It's a blue-green. And then within that, so I had a dark, medium, light, and then I mixed them with each other. So you can't help but have a totally harmonious painting when you're done, because everything works with each other. It's pretty hard to kill it with these 3 pigments. Not impossible, but hard. Okay, so we have a little red over here. And if you're looking at this, you go, God, it doesn't look like a pot. Well, it's not going to for a while. And if you've watched the show for a while, God, you can almost feel people getting nervous because I'm painting and painting and painting, and it's not looking like anything, and it's not looking like anything, and then boom, there it is. Well, that's how it happens. Okay, so there's some red down below. I like that. All right, where am I going to go next? Is there any red up here? No, there's a little bit of red on the handle. Maybe just kind of suggest that. And then I'm going to go into the violets. Is that a logical place to go? I'm going into the background. No, it's not necessarily, there's no rule. It just felt like getting out the purple. What would be a logical way to approach this? You would start in the background, which I'm heading in that direction. You would start in the background and then, we've got a nice little critter crawling on the canvas. Can't live here. It's gotta go. Oh, see, we're just grinding some more pigment into this puppy. I don't think he thinks it's that funny. He's stopped talking though. Oh, I knew this was going to be a good show. You can kind of tell, but how the day starts shaping up. Oh, that's just a nice little neutral color there. Okay, let's throw some more of that. I'm losing my reference photo. Okay, so it's fairly light back here. What else is going on? We need a little more pinky color. This is a palette I typically don't use, but it's a great one to do for winter. You can get some nice, rich, real earthy colors. What I like about doing this with the three pigments is that one of my challenges, and you can tell by looking at how this is starting out already, is the use of neutrals. I like a lot of bright colors, but the only way brights are going to sing and really truly have any brilliance is if they are complemented by neutrals. And since I'm challenged, I typically don't think to put neutrals down. This is a great way to develop some. Okay. I'll add some more. Ooh, we have some really nice little blue violet over here. I'm already mixing the mixes. Let's see, there's some blue violet here. So I don't know what color you would think that a copper pot would be, but it's not just one color. It definitely depends on what's surrounding it. And I manipulated the environment so that it would be surrounded by a lot of color. Why not? Why not make it happy? Unless you wanted something that was just really mellow. I'd rather not. Okay, that's good. I'm liking that. I'm just putting in some spots of color. Needs a little more violet. Maybe add a little of this blue. Just because. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's singing. We'll mix, and I'm going to mix this blue with some of this violet. I'm going to leave the background cool and the foreground warm so that it'll pop. It is still awkward to have stuff on my palette, anything on my palette, and not just mix and go. Michael, my teacher, he would have us pre-mix some of the exercises where we would pre-mix all the color. Well, it's a great exercise if you have a lot of patience. I typically don't usually have enough patience to pre-mix as much color as I did here. It took me a little over an hour to pre-mix all these colors. And then what really would have been nice is to have this huge palette that I could have brought in and had all these colors laid down. But transporting that would not have been good. So it's not something that I typically do, but it's a wonderful exercise. And I didn't even do the exercise properly, because normally this would be all the same darkness. This would be all dark, this would be medium, this would be light. And I didn't even get that to the point where you could, but enough that it'll work. You could spend hours just mixing if you wanted to. And some people really enjoy that process. Speaking of process, you know, a really good example of that, of just being in the moment, enjoying the process, is the grandkids were over this weekend, and we played with Play-Doh. So we sat down there, and we got out the Play-Doh, and it was great. I mean, we had a great time. We were making all these things. And at the end, we had to just squish it and put it back in the tubs. And we had created all these wonderful things. And the kids were a little bit sad, but they, you know, it was not really a big deal. It was like they knew they could make something else. And, you know, what a great attitude that is when you're creating anything. You know, if it doesn't work, get a new canvas. Try again. And just enjoy the process of creating. Also, though, in the real world, sometimes I get upset when, when things don't work. So there's how it would be nice to be and how it really is. And so I either let it dry or throw it out or whatever I need to do. Hey, I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's always a happy thing. But the more you practice, the more the sessions are. And usually my painting is dictated by my attitude when I attack the canvas. The nice thing about painting is that your attitude can get better once you get in the middle of the process. I know when I first started painting, it actually got worse because I would get frustrated with what I was doing. But now I know that if it doesn't work out, another one will. I did throw some out over the New Year. It was time to take a look at what worked and what didn't, and let go of some. And that felt really good. You know what? Next time I do that, I should bring them in for a show and show you the ones I'm going to throw out and tell you why they're worth killing. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Now, part of playing with this background is also just, it's warming up, it's stretching. It gets you in the mode for attacking something that's a little more active. It's not that it doesn't matter, but it's just a good place to warm up and get into the alpha state. You get into a different state when you start painting. You guys have seen me kind of get swallowed up in that before. I think it was last time. Got sucked into the tile. Okay, I really like the color. I like all that different stuff that's going on back there. We need some more violet here. We're going to definitely have to have some violet contrast here, otherwise it's going to blend in with the pot. We can't have that. So I'm going to go for, I have to get off this violet and start changing some color a little bit. Okay, that's pretty. At least I know the colors are going to, work because I did all the pre-mixing. I did all that ahead of time. Okay, where else is it darker? There's some dark right here. And also down at the bottom. I'm getting used to having my liquid down here in this cup. It's a little bit different to work with. Okay, we gotta ground this puppy. Now the little shamrocks that you can see on the reference photo disturb the shadow, so I'm going to have to just pretend and make up what's going on in the shadow. So I will do that. Going to lift this up a little bit. Now it would be real awkward or boring if I had this totally go off the canvas exactly like it did here. I'm going to have to put some movement in this way so that this whole thing doesn't fall off. But we'll address that a little bit later. Meanwhile, we'll go back to some violet, a little bit lighter violet. Let's see. So I'm looking at basic color shapes. These are just notes of color. That's pretty. I'm doing a wine series right now, and somebody was asking me, how do you decide what you want to paint, or do you just love wine? And I started laughing because it has nothing to do with that. I decided I want to paint something I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. I've painted a million pears, but I don't really like to eat them. So it's really the way that a light hits something. I like the way the light hits something, and that triggers me wanting to paint it. Okay, some light there. We need a little pink. Now, if you've watched this show before, you know these are colors. I'm not Miss Pink person, so this is a little different for me. And the fact that I'm using the same brush and not using a million brushes so far is also different. I'm wiping as I go. I am so tempted to add some more red to this, but I'm going to hold off and see how long it can last without doing that, because it's really not time for that. I want the background to be cool. This could be lighter and warmer, so I'm not going to get out the red. I'll get a little bit of the yellow, Indian yellow. That's a little too much. The whole thing was too much. You know what? Sometimes you just need to wipe it off. That's better. Go back to the pink. It'll work now because there's so much yellow under there. Yeah, that's warmer. Okay, let's go back to some of this other. I'm going for the pinks, the cool reds. When you see the reference photo on the computer, it's much closer to real life than the little printed version I have. I didn't get it. So you see some really brilliant color. And when you paint from life, oh, there's so much more to see. Add a little blue. That's nice. These are nice neutrals. Neutrals that would be difficult for me to come up with if I hadn't pre-mixed them. Only because I just don't think to go there. So this helps me get to that place. Neutrals are really, really important. As much as I like brights, it's like a music that has only one dynamic. If it's pianissimo the whole time, it's boring. If it's forte the whole time, it's boring. Got to have this variety. Okay, I gotta quit playing with that. Keep moving. Now, where's the light source in this? This is really squirrely because I had 2 light sources, plus I didn't shut off any of the other lights in the room. I just wanted it to be a wild painting, and it's going to be. It's not traditional. One of the things the big they, that they always tell you is to have a single light source. Now you can position these lights differently than I did. You can do one of 2 things to create this. You can buy colored lights, or you can take acrylic paint and paint over the bulb itself. You've got to be careful, they get really hot after they've been burning a while. But the acrylic works, so you don't have to buy special lights. And buy complementary colors. I used, did I use complementary? Actually, I tried every combination you could think of, and I didn't go complementary at the end. I actually did you can see it's a purple, a violet, and a red. And then I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do a black light? If you've ever seen a black light and you shine that on the still life, that is so, it makes the purples really, really intense. So you ought to try that one too. That makes for a really interesting still life. I've even been doing paintings of the monkey with some funky colors, and it looks really cool. Okay, let's try some pink. I'm keeping the background right now a little more subdued than it is in the reference photo because I want to see, I don't want to compete with the pot, and so I want to see how this does first before the pot does before I go giving it a lot of extra punch. We'll see. If I can get away with it, I will. If not, then I won't. Okay, that's good. That's reflecting that. This is more of a, do I want to go with a little darker violet? Well, let's try it. See what happens. And add a little blue just because it gets boring. This is very thinned down, so I'm not committing yet. Okay, we have to follow the shape of, yeah, that's not making sense, so I don't want to do that. It's got to make sense. If the reference photo doesn't make sense, then do it differently in the painting. Also, one of the things about the, well, I'll just show you. I'm going to blend a little bit of the background, just slightly, so that it's not quite so mottled. What's really cool with this medium I'm using, it dries pretty quickly, and the lights are really hot in here, so that helps it. And so I'm going to blend now before it kind of sets up and gets tacky, which it would actually do. It doesn't usually, oils don't usually dry that fast, but it's pretty hot in here, and I don't want this to get stuck. I really like this millions of stuff that's going on in here in the background. They're like, yeah, just paint the pot. We want to see the pot come alive. Well, the pot won't come alive unless I do the background right. This is one of those where you can look in the background and see faces and stare at it, and great for parties. See what you can see in the background. I like this reflective surface. That's just nice. Okay, I want to clean this up a little bit. Okay, what's going on the other side of the handle? See, that's just nice color going on back there. We have a little more pink that's just brought down. Oops, oh, it's too dark. This is a whole different world when you've got everything mixed for you already. Kind of nice. Will I do it again? Probably not for a while. It depends on my mood and how patient I can be. I'm like a kid where I just want to start painting. I don't want to mess with it. Okay, some dark there. More violet. I saw the coolest red cow on the way over here. And there's this highway on the way over here that where my favorite. The light hits the cows in the late afternoon. It's really cool. Anyway, I'm driving over this hill, and there are all these just regular cows, and it was almost like somebody took one of these colored lights I've been having and just shined it on this cow, and it was just brilliant mahogany cow. Oh, he was gorgeous. Wish I had had my camera or my paints. Well, I did, but I couldn't stop. I had to come here. He was pretty. Or she. It's a she. Be interesting to write down all the free associations you get when you're painting. Okay. I'm going to soften the inside of that handle. Now, it's a good thing that I did not try to mix and do this all at one time. Or it would have to be a mini series. Okay, that's just not, I need to tie that in. That little spot can be bright there, but it needs to have some pink color there to tie in. All right, gotta get going on this picture, because we don't want to do a two-parter on this one, I don't think. All right, what's going on over here? This, I'm gonna lift this up. Hopefully I won't knock it over. I'm going to add a little pink violet to it, right, but not too much. Right here. Reflections are always fun because they're basically what's happening above, but they're subdued. So I'm going to take a little bit of this red that's right here, throw it down here. And I'm going to add a little more bright just because there's some bright stuff here. And I'm going to go over here. What else is in this? We need some neutrals. Gotta have some neutrals. I'm going to go for this dark. Oh, that's nice. You know what? I better put this on here before I knock it over. Some dark there. Let's see what else. We'll make up some stuff going this way. Got to cover up those lines that I changed my mind, so I erased a lot of drawing there. Throw some light in. Okay, I'm pretending that there are some highlights bouncing off. I'm holding this, so it's going to be hard to see, but there's sort of some highlights here that are bouncing off whatever this blob is. There's going to be a blob here. So I'm going to line those up. Blob, blob. That works. I think the thing when I first started painting that I was most timid about was throwing down highlights. every time I'd put one down, I thought it looked stupid. And then I'd do it again, and I'd think it looks stupid again. And it took me a long time to just get confident and just put it down. Okay, so now I need some more neutrals. This needs to be, I'm getting the bigger brush because we're halfway into the program and I need to speed this up. Okay. Ooh, that's a gorgeous blue. I like that. I'm lifting this up so I can get the bottom. And we're going to need to put some violet down. You know what? I'm just going to turn this thing upside down, and then it'll be easier for me to paint and easier for you to see what I'm painting. I will also need to turn my reference photo upside down because otherwise I get lost. I had a little, somehow I smashed the canvas on the way over here, so I'm going to have to take some water and fix that later. Right now. Okay, we'll just throw some violet in. What colors are going on? We have some nice neutrals. Copper neutrals. Some neutral here. Some of that over here. Some light violet stuff that's reflecting. And some blues. That's a little too dark. I'm going to tone that down, believe it or not, with some yellow. Throw some over here. It really is that scientific. Throw some over here, throw some over there. I'm just looking at the spots of color as they appear. Clean my brush a little bit. Add some more neutral. That was a little bright for a neutral. This canvas really got hammered. I hope I can fix that. I saw this wonderful green I was tempted to go into, but it's like, no, it's not time. We're not there yet. Okay, this needs to be darker, a little more subdued. So I'm going back into this violet. Got to mirror what's there. And there's also violet on the other edge. We just can't see it because the shamrocks are covering it up. They are left over from a still life I'm going to be working on with the monkey for St. Patrick's Day. Okay. Need a little more red there. Always need a little more red. And I need to quickly get some of this background in. It might be a bit much, but I'm not going to judge it yet. Well, I already have, but I'm going to ignore my judgment. Wonderful neutrals. Okay, what else is on the other side of that? It's pretty light over there. So I'm going to try light, but maybe a little pink. Tone that down. And let's see, a little more pink. I have to tie this in. And some violet blue. Okay, so we have this wild color going on here all over this whole thing. And now it's time to blend. The thing about reflections is, well, one of the things is that you paint them the way you are, but then you blend them into each other, and you don't worry about boundaries. I don't anyway. That helps them look like they're actually reflecting into something. Yeah, I'm going to have to work on that. You can see that line here. And we'll see if I can. I'm going to need to restretch this canvas. Sometimes things like that happen. I am going to try to work with it. It would be a shame to have it go into the Guadalupe collection or the John Smith collection, which is our local dump. Okay, now I'm going to take a look at it the other way, right side up, and see what I can do. Whoops. Okay, that is starting to look like a reflection. I need to push this down some more. So I'm going down and then across. And I know you can't really see, but if I let go, the canvas is going to go flying. Okay, that's enough playing with the background right now. Now, part of keeping this all soft and subdued is that you can put thicker colors and sharper contrasts, and it will pop from the background. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to overstate. First thing I'm going to do is overstate the lights, because I tend to blend those away, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to overstate the brights and the yellows, and then put the other color on top. Okay, so where do we see that? I started to put some there. I'm going to get some clean white. I'm also using more paint for that. Okay, so it's lighter here. And then there's some light here. Definitely a big blob of light here. Where is this light landing? I may change some of these highlights later, but I'm going to put them in as I see them at first, and then edit out what I don't need. A lot of editing occurs. Okay, so there's light there, there. Oh, this wonderful spot that needs to be bright and light right here, and I'm going to overstate that. It's bright enough. It might not be light enough, but we'll see. And then right there. And I'm not even, this is going to be a pretty crude drawing when you're through. I'm not even worried about that so much as if I get the color right and things start, the whole thing will start to pop, even if it's poorly drawn. Which is, that's really encouraging for somebody that's starting out, and somebody who's working on their drawing skills. I learned to paint before I learned to draw, which is really backwards. And so it's great to know that if you really feel like painting, you can start with that and then catch up. Okay, let's see. What kind of wonderful color should I throw in here? There's some dark spots right in here, here, and here. And as long as there's there's this wonderful green here. And I think as long as I keep the values consistent, it should work. So I've got a little spot of dark right here. But it has some bright. God, I didn't make a bright green. Well, I need to. This is where my mixes start getting hammered. Okay, so there's some green I saw right there. And you know what, I'll bet that's, even though in my little photo it doesn't look that green, but I'll bet you that's what that is. Some green here. This could use a nice little dark violet right there. Let's see, or a blue. That would be pretty next to that. Yeah, it might be, that is too dark, but you know what, right now, I'm just putting it down. And where else is there a dark? Right here. So you really get to play with color. When you're in your own studio and you're looking at it from life, there's just so much more color that you can see. So I would encourage you to try that, shining some different lights on it and really see what you can come up with. And there's dark right there. I don't want to repeat this, so I got to get away from this color and move on. Maybe try all these mixes, and I don't have what I want, so I'm going to mix a little more of a violet. That's too dark. But I'm going to leave it there. That, where else is there fairly? I think I need to get a flat brush. That's not it. What am I looking for? This might be too small. I will try it. I'm going to have a little more control with this kind of a brush, so that's what I'm going to use. Well, you know what? Let's go into some red because we've just been neglecting the red really for quite some time. There's red on the handle here. And a cooler red over here. It needs to get, I'm just going to kind of draw this in and then fill in the blanks. This will be more of a, yeah, that's good. When you're doing thin areas like this, it's nice to have a flat brush like this. That's not a filbert. And there's a little lip thing here. I don't know all the positions. Okay, whoops, I just overstated that, so I'm just going to wipe that off until I decide where I want to go with that. And I'm not going to play with this handle because that's tempting too. All right, the rim is also, I need to get a little bit better. It was the way the paint, the color wasn't bad, it was the way the paint was on the brush was not gonna behave. The paint needs to behave. Okay, I like that rim. That's a good start. I need to get this drawing in. And it's not all the same color. You've seen me do this tons of times before. It's not the same color all the way around. So really look at what you see and put it down. Okay, there's more light over here. And I need a nice neutral. I'm looking for a nice neutral, so I'm gonna switch brushes and use a warm neutral for up here and see if that works. It works, but you know what? It's not red enough. That's better. And normally what I do when I'm painting is I get in the mirror and I look back to see where I'm going. And so I haven't looked back a lot today, but that's because we've been at the background stage. Ew, I need to chop that off, but I got to keep going. Okay. It's just a little too bright, even for me. Okay. I'm planning my attack because we don't have a lot of time left, and I want to cover the canvas in the time that we have. And you're going, yeah, right. Took you all episode to do what you've done so far. Okay, so we need a big brush for this. And fast music, if you can hear that in your head. And a good strong red. Coupled with the violet will make this neutral. Boy, that paint's really gummy today. Sometimes that happens. And this whole side is darker, so I'm just going to continue in this vein. Add a little more medium so this thing will start moving. Oh, that's a gorgeous color. That's the cow color! I found it! Oh, that's cool. That's the cow color. Gorgeous. I know it doesn't look gorgeous yet, but it will. Maybe not today, but it will. Oh, I like that color. Okay, throw in some red. A little darker down at the bottom. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so this is going to have to be a little orangey. It needs to be lighter here. These random colors, they appear random, but they're not quite so random. Okay, so it's starting to take on some shape. I love that. Love, love, love that color. All right, we need some more cow color, so I'm going to grab some of that, which was a mixture of a bunch of stuff. I know, that's not telling you anything. This was CAD. No, I didn't use any CAD. That's why I'm confused. You know, quinacridone rose and permanent rose, I use the term interchangeably, and they typically are the same pigment. So I used that, Indian yellow, and a little bit of phthalo turquoise. It's just amazing that with 3 pigments, just 3 tubes of paint, you can get this. You can get this and more. Okay. But you all know that because you do that on the computer with 3 pigments. They're just not liquid. Okay, so we need a pink, just some shocking pink in the middle, just because, you know, I like to do that sometimes because you just wouldn't expect it. I mean Barbie pink. Something I'd never wear. There. Okay. Technical there. This red needs to go all the way to the edge. Will she pull it off? Yeah, maybe. Okay. Now what needs to happen down here? It needs to be a nice mellow neutral. This was, oh, that's gorgeous. Never knew I could fall in love with neutrals like this. What do they have down there? What is going on? It has red. I tried shining other lights on it, but of course I didn't like what they did as well as when I had reds going. Okay, now it's starting to have something happen toward the bottom. You're starting to see that it's a vessel taking shape. Need to get this handle done. Let's see, a little bit lighter here. Need a smaller brush for that. Okay, I need some more neutrals. Have to go back to the neutrals. Gotta quit playing with the red. Let's see, it's a little lighter here. And where else? This is lighter, a little bit brighter. You know, the questions I ask myself when I'm trying to determine what to paint, is it lighter or brighter? Is it lighter or darker? Is it duller or brighter? I still hear Michael in my head when I paint. Okay, what's surrounding this light? Another neutral. Wow, this is like the psychedelic copper pitcher. Ooh, there was this little magenta color here going on. Have to get in some neutrals with these greens. Oh, that's happy. I'm going to lighten that up a little because I overstated that. And that phthalo turquoise will just take over. You ever in a meeting with somebody and God, you just wish they'd shut up because they're just, you know, they made their point and they're going on and on and on. I know, I'm starting to sound like Rosanna Dana. Well, phthalo turquoise is like one of those people, if you don't, you know, get an agenda, they keep going. I know. Shut up and paint, Shannon. All right. Normally, with only a couple minutes left, I'd be doing some frenzied scribbling. But I don't think that that's necessary. We will throw in some strokes here and some red there. And I need to take a look at it. Oh, that's just really cool. Okay, let's throw in some pink and red. Because it's happy. And maybe some lighter. I'm going to go straight into the white. And create some neutrals from my dirty brush. And what else could happen here? I've been neglecting a little orange here. Throw some orange, straight, cad yellow deep, just because it's fun. The whole thing is just because it's fun. Okay. That turned into a nice green as opposed to an evil green. And I've seen those. All right. what's going on here. A little more light. Gotta fill in these little gaps here. Okay, so now I need to blend a little bit because we have like very little time left. And I'm going to blend this thing together with a stiff brush because the soft one is not going to work. And in this last little minute, I will take all the darks and work them together. But I'm not going to blend the heck out of it like I usually do. I'm going to just do a light blending because I like all these little spots. I'm staying out of that nasty little phthalo. I like the way these spots work. So they are going to be the foundation for the rest of the painting. So how would I finish this? No, I'm not going to have a two-parter. But I would continue to paint in exactly the same manner, only I'd fill in the spots some more and blend as I go with the palette that only I probably would not pre-mix at all just because I wouldn't have the patience. So that's how you'd finish the painting. And I just thank you for watching Give Your Wall Some Soul. You know, it's one of those deals where you don't always get it done, but you have fun along the way, just like Play-Doh. Thanks for watching. I'm Shannon Grissom.